Today, I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how to increase the profit margin on your loads as a freight broker or a freight agent. So, as a broker or as an agent, you are brokering loads and you are making a middle. You sell the load to a shipper for $1,000. They agree to that rate. You then find a truck to haul that load for $800. You make a $200 profit. So, what I'm going to teach you how to do is how to increase that average profit margin with these 3 strategies. Okay. So, number one, I'm going to lead in with this one because this is the one that you absolutely cannot do without. This is the one that drives me freaking crazy. Okay. Number one is you need to learn to negotiate in fives and tens versus 50s and hundreds. Okay. Now, let me explain to you what I mean by that. Let's say on the carrier side, you got the load posted, you're talking to some carriers. And the carrier, you tell the carrier, I can pay you 1,000. And the carrier says, well, I need 1,200 for that. And you immediately go up to 1,100 or 1,150 or 1,200. And you negotiate in large blocks. What you need to learn to do is negotiate in fives and tens. What I mean is this: when you tell them 1,000, and this is any negotiation, but I'm going to give you the example. The same thing works on the shipper side, okay? But if I tell you 1,000 and you tell me 1,200, when I negotiate, I'm going to negotiate and say, well, listen, I could give you maybe 1,010, something like that. And you negotiate in smaller increments. So what happens is it does a couple of things. Psychologically, it positions you and as someone who has value and isn't just giving away that value, makes them feel as though psychologically that you have less room in your price to negotiate when you negotiate in smaller amounts. Okay. Now, it might not seem like a big deal, $50, right? Doesn't seem like a big deal. In my brokerage, when I sold the brokerage, there were days that we were doing 300 or 400 or 500 or more loads a day. So add that $50 on top of 300 loads a day, and then multiply that times 30 days, and then multiply that times 12 months. So it really starts to add up, and it's a philosophy. It's a mentality that you have to understand. So get that down. All right. Number 2, when giving a price to a shipper or a carrier, do not quote the rate in a range. This is another thing. I'll give you an example of how it happens on the carrier side. So I'm talking to a carrier. Carrier says, how much will you pay on that load? I tell them, well, we can pay you maybe 1,000, 1,100. Huge mistake, because all he heard was 1,100. You have no opportunity to talk about 1,000. You have no opportunity to negotiate 1,000 because you already gave it away. So don't quote prices in ranges, right? Big mistake. This is a second mistake I see all the time. It drives me crazy. And so that's another, I've talked about some of this stuff before, but I can reiterate it because it's so important, guys. So here's a strategy. Carrier says, how much can you do that load for? Rather than saying 1,000, say, I could do 995 or I could do 1005. Give an exact dollar amount. Okay. Don't give a range, and then use the 5 and 10 negotiating strategy to negotiate from there. Okay. All right. Number 3, be willing to walk away. You, at any point in the negotiation with a shipper or with a carrier, you have to be willing to walk away. They have to realize and understand and feel as though, and you have to convey the confidence as though you have options. You have other actions. While you would love to work with them, you don't need them. Anytime the other party feels as though you need them more than they need you, you're in trouble, right? You're going to get put over the barrel and it's not going to be fun. All right. So they're going to negotiate hard when they believe that they are more valuable to you than you are to them. Okay. So that's really important to understand that. Remember, be willing to walk away. No deal is better than a bad deal. That's something that I learned very early in business. Okay. And that goes for you as a carrier too. If you're a carrier or a broker or a shipper, whoever you are, no deal's better than a bad deal. Very important that you guys understand that, right? That's a psychology. That's a mentality that you absolutely have to have. All right. Now I'm going to give you a bonus. Hold tight here for the bonus. I want to give you a quick bonus. Let me review the first 3. Number 1, negotiate in 5s and 10s versus 50s and 100s. Number 2, don't use price ranges when asked what rate can you pay, okay? Or what is your rate? Number 3, Be willing to walk away. No deal's better than a bad deal. They cannot sense or feel as though that you need them more than they need you. All right. So those are the 3 tips. But here's the bonus tip. All right. Here's the bonus tip. And then I have a question for you. So hold tight. Bonus tip. And then I have a question. When negotiating with a shipper or with a carrier, doesn't matter on which side it works on both, use credit terms as a way to seal the deal. What do I mean by that? So as a carrier, when you're negotiating with a carrier, you're a broker negotiating with a carrier, what you can do is when you're close on the rate and maybe you're off by 5 or 10 or 15 or $25, right? You're pretty close, or maybe up to $50, right? What you can do is use credit terms to seal the deal. So rather than giving up an extra $20 or $50 on the rate, offer to give them a free quick pay. No fee on the quick pay.
Yeah, boy.
Because quick pays are going to cost you as a broker very, very little. So get a free quick pay. 1 day, 5 day quick pay. That's a great way to seal the deal because carriers want their money fast. And they understand that a quick pay might cost them 3 or 4 or 5%. So that's how they value it. So on a $1,000 loan, 5%, that's $50. It's like, listen, I got $50. I was only asking for 25, but the reality is it only costs you a few bucks to do the quick pay, right? So use a quick pay as a way to close the deal with a carrier. Use credit terms. Now, you can do the same thing with a shipper, right? So on a shipper side, you're close on the rate. What you want to do is try to negotiate payment on delivery, right? Within 24 or 48 hours of delivery. You give them a POD, a signed POD, and they issue a payment within 24 to 48 hours. Or maybe you can do a 10-day pay, right? But what you have to understand is as a broker, you are a bank. And so cash flow is critical, just like most business, but in the freight business, cash flow is king, not cash is. So you've got to make sure that you get paid quickly. So anytime you can negotiate better terms with a shipper, it's worth a small concession on the back end for profit. Okay. So those are my 4 tips plus my bonus tip today. And my question to you is this: which one of these tips is your favorite? Hit me up in the comments and let me know which of these you think is the most valuable or your favorite, or the one that you're going to use the next time you're on the phone negotiating rate. Hit me up in the comments and let me know that. And listen, for those of you that are curious, becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I've been in business as an entrepreneur over 27 years, okay? I've done over $200 million as a freight broker, started and grew my freight brokerage from $0 to $80 million a year and sold it. I'm also the owner of freightbrokerbootcamp.com, which is the most cost-effective, comprehensive online freight broker training program available. So if you're curious, check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com because I have trained over 10,000 students, right? We've had that training program for over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee, okay? So I can't make it any easier than that. I hope you guys enjoyed the training. Make sure you hit me up in the comments with your favorite tip from this episode, from this training. And I'll see you next week on another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live.